Everyone. Welcome to today's group training, guys. Hope you are having a great day, great evening. Today we're going over macros and micros. We've talked about micronutrients, we've talked about micronutrients and macronutrients before, but never had a dedicated training to go in depth. So let's get into it. So this guide is designed to help clients understand the fundamental role of macronutrients, micronutrients, and how to build a sustainable approach to nutrition without restrictions. So guys, a lot of coaches, a lot of other personal or nutritionists too, they teach their clients to track their macros. And I've done this before, but it's like it takes so much longer, it's so much tedious to actually track your macros, and it's just more meticulous, it's more overwhelming, causes more stress. So what I found is that I just have my clients track our calories and protein because that's all that truly matters when it comes to losing fat and building muscle. But macros do matter too, and we're going to talk about why they matter and what they are first. The definition of macronutrients are nutrients that the body needs in large amounts of energy for vital function. So there's protein, carbs, and fat. But there is also alcohol. Guys, alcohol is a macronutrient, but it's a macronutrient that we try to avoid because it is a poison. But I wanted to go over this. See, protein is 4 calories per gram. So 1 gram of protein, if you guys have ever used a weight scale or a food scale, you know what a gram is pretty a small amount. So 4 calories is a very small amount. It's like a morsel. So protein is 4 calories per gram. Carbohydrates is 4 calories per gram. And most usually, carbohydrates is going to be a little bit more voluminous because it's not as dense as protein. Protein is a very dense macronutrient. So 1 gram of protein is going to be very minuscule. 1 gram of carbohydrates is probably going to be a couple morsels. And then fat, guys. The thing with fat is why I always kind of promote a lower fat intake. If you are guys, when you guys got first onboarded, and you checked out the Simple Nutrition. A lot of you guys who've seen this, some of you guys might be new to you, but the Simplified Nutrition on the bottom, it says keep fat lower than protein and carbs. Why do I say keep fat lower than protein and carbs? Because it's 9 calories per gram, while protein and carbs are only 4 calories per gram. So for the same volume, mass, and density, for the same weight of the food, the same amount of food, it's more than double the amount of calories. So I'm not saying it's necessarily bad for you, but I am saying it is fat. So yeah, it's fattening. You're going to say fat is more inherently fattening than protein and carbs because it's higher in calories. It's more than double the amount of calories for the same amount of food. So fat is an important macronutrient for testosterone hormone regulation and to make things taste good, but it's the macronutrient that we need to be more mindful the most of to stay in the calorie deficit because it's very easy to get into a calorie surplus when we start adding in fat in all these areas. But I mean, if we start taking out all of our fat, then we can come to some issues. But normally, we get enough fat from our cuts of our protein, the sauces and the oils that we cook with, maybe some avocado, some nuts, some seeds, great fat sources. Like you never want to be one of those people on the internet. You see them just eating a straight stick of butter. People who are taking shots of olive oil. Like I'm not a fan of that. It's because it's so many calories and it's just not really worth it. Okay. So I wanted to go over that real quick. Alcohol is 7 calories per gram. I wanted to quickly bounce on that. Alcohol is 7 calories per gram. So if we look at this. If a drink has 200 calories, you can track it as carbs. 200 calories, 4 equals 50 grams of carbs. So, I mean, this is for people who are drinking. I know holidays are coming, and to track alcohol, if you're going to drink alcohol, like in more than one, you probably should track it. And to track alcohol as calories, it's essential to know that alcohol provides 7 calories per gram, making it more calorically dense than both carbohydrates and protein, which provides 4 calories per gram, and fats 9 calories per gram. For instance, a standard alcoholic drink like a 5-ounce glass of wine or a 12-ounce beer typically contains around 120 to 150 calories, while a shot of distilled spirits like vodka or whiskey can have around 100 calories. Therefore, it's crucial to be mindful of alcohol consumption as these calories can add up quickly and may impact our overall energy balance and weight management. You can track A portion, you can track a portion as fat and as protein as carbs, but you can't use protein macros for alcohol. Okay, carbs and protein equal 4 calories per gram. Fat equals 9 calories per gram, and alcohol is 7 calories per gram. Okay, those are all the macronutrients. So instill that into your head. And just to remind you guys that be lucky that we're not tracking macros, because honestly, a lot of coaches that teach fat loss make their clients do macros, and it's more time consuming, it's more overwhelming. I've done it. It's like it's a little bit more accurate to track all your macros, maybe a sliver more accurate, but we are still making crazy progress just tracking our calories and protein. But I want you guys to be able to understand macros, because it's important not to restrict ourselves from any one of those macros, because there's a purpose for all of them. Where were we here? Yeah, we're going to get into the purpose real quick. Protein, builds muscle. That's why I make you guys track protein. If we're trying to build muscle and burn fat, the protein is hitting our daily protein goal is going to ensure that we build that muscle. Staying within our daily calorie goal is going to ensure that we not put any more fat on. Build the muscle, not gain fat. That's the goal. It's those two numbers. And with protein, it has all 9 essential amino acids. Like, we need these amino acids to recover, and we need these amino acids to build muscle and repair damaged tissue. And also, protein has a high thermic effect of food. That's why I have you guys on a high protein diet. A lot of people might say we're eating too much protein, but what's so great about eating more protein than you need is that it has a higher thermic effect of food, meaning your body has to digest that, break that down. It takes more energy compared to carbohydrates, compared to fat, compared to alcohol. When you eat protein in abundance regularly, your body's digestive system is working overtime, and you're burning more calories doing that. Higher thermic effect of food. You're burning, the more protein you eat, the more calories you burn over time. And it might be minuscule at first, just eating a little bit of protein, but once we do this for weeks, months, years, and you're constantly prioritizing protein, you're going to become more of a calorie burning machine, because protein has such a strong thermic effect of food. Okay, so those are the 3 reasons. It builds muscle, helps with recovery, and there's a thermic effect of food. Sources of protein. You guys know what protein is. Come on, lean. But I wanted to quickly bring up this. You guys probably have seen this before, and I'll quickly talk about this. The way I schedule your guys' macros. Like, you guys don't. I just want you guys to be educated. Like, you guys just see your calorie and protein goal, but your macros is something like this. This is what most of my clients' macros kind of look like, depending on if you're a male or female. Females might have more fat intake. So I want you guys about 30 to 35% protein, 42 to 47% carbs, and about 17 to 20% fat. We want a high carb diet. That's the majority of our macro calories. The majority of our calories are coming from carbs. Healthier carbs, whole grains, breads that are good, fruits, vegetables, other carbohydrate sources like rice, beans. The majority of our calories are coming from carbs, because as we become a calorie burning machine, we need those carbs for energy. So that's why we're eating so many carbs, because we need all that energy. Okay, and that's why we're eating all that protein, because we need to build that muscle, we need to recover. And the little bit of fat there is going to help regulate our hormones, and it's going to help make the protein and carbs taste good. The fat helps things taste good. We want a high carb, non-refined carbs. We talked about this in the calorie density episode. We want majority non-refined carbs. You guys see me on my Instagram. I eat refined carbs sometimes with a Rice Krispie treat, or whatever. It's okay to have some refined carbs, but that shouldn't be this whole amount. So we're going to scroll down here, and this doesn't have too much refined carbs. These are all natural, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of understand something, because this is kind of a mind-opening thing right here. See how the carbohydrates on the far left are bright green? Bread, rice, couscous, cereal. They're bright green. Okay, those are the full carbs, where you look at the calories and you look at the nutritional label, and the majority of the majority of the food is a carbohydrate, and there might be 1 gram of protein or 1 gram of fat, but it's like 30 grams of carbs and 50 calories or whatever it is. Okay, so these are the foods that are majority non-debatable carbs. Okay, the bright green, and as they start to move over, the color morphs. The color morphs like it's mixing. The green and the red is mixing. These are protein heavy carbs. These are carbs that also have protein. Don't mistake it for Don't mistake it for. These are carb heavy protein. Don't mistake it for protein heavy carbs. These are more of a protein. I mean, these are more of a carb. Sorry, these are more of a carb with protein. The ones that are poopy color, okay, the baby puke green. These are more carbs that have a little bit of protein. I wouldn't consider them a full protein source, but when you're tracking, you're trying to be mindful of hitting your protein goal, and and you're looking at like your calories to the day. You can be like, okay, I can try to, I don't have these protein sources, but I can try to get some carbs that have protein, like beans, grains, quinoa, peas. But I want you to understand that these aren't full proteins. They're just going to help us reach our protein goal. Like I wouldn't like sit down at your plate and your main protein source is just beans. It's an okay protein source, but it's I wanted you to add a little bit more from the red side. See, now when we go into the red, these are pure protein sources. Pure protein sources. And quickly to go back to this color, like I'm not saying these aren't necessarily protein sources. They're carbs that have a good amount of protein, and if you sprinkle in a lot of these throughout the day, they can help you hit your protein goal. They have all the amino acids you need, but the thing is, you're gonna have to eat a lot more of these. You're gonna have to eat a lot more of this to hit your protein goal than this, because these are higher in protein. So you could hit your protein goal with these sources for sure, but you probably would surpass your calorie goal because you'd have to eat a lot more of it to reach your protein goal. Does that make any sense? So once we get into the red, these are full protein sources. And then when we morph over into the orange, these are protein sources that are fattier. Okay, these are fattier protein sources. I would consider these full protein sources. And you can eat these fully on your plate, like that's a protein source. But you got to be mindful because they're much higher in fat. Because if you eat more of these, again, it's going to make you do calories more. Your calories are going to be in a surplus. So if your majority of your protein sources are fattier protein sources, it's going to be hard for us to burn fat and build muscle because that macro is a protein morphing into a fat. Fat is higher in calories, guys. This starting to make sense yet? This macronutrient thing, it can be a little complicated. That's why I just like to teach calories and protein because it's so simple. If we want to burn fat, we got to be in a calorie deficit. What is a calorie deficit? Our body is using more energy than it needs to maintain its current weight. Energy meaning calories. Calories are energy. Some calories and some macronutrients have more energy than other ones. Usually the fattier ones or the protein ones. It just depends. But I wanted you guys to get a good idea of this. Okay? All foods have all macros. All foods have all macros, but it's the ratios to decide which one of those are where they're categorized. So all foods have all macros. Right. Cool. We talked about that. Now I want to get into micronutrients. I think we talked about macronutrients, guys. Macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs. Hopefully this is making sense. But guys, carbs are our body's primary fuel source. Protein, build muscle. Fats, regulate hormones, make things taste good. We need all three for long-term fat loss. We don't want to restrict. If we restrict any, then there's going to be a butterfly effect. So the people that do keto or they do like no fat. There's people that do carnivore. There's a lot of weird diets out there. There's no way it can be sustainable for the long term. Like our body thrives off all macros, and our body also thrives off micronutrients. The definition of micronutrients are vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, essential for overall health, but needed in smaller amounts than macronutrients. Okay. The purpose of micronutrients: prevent nutrition deficiencies, support energy production, immune function recovery, promote long-term health. Sources of micronutrients: fruits, vegetables, dairy, fortified grains, minerals, whole grains, nuts, seeds, all that stuff, guys. Mother Nature foods, micronutrients. Aim for the rainbow, for the variety of colorful whole foods. You want to be eating the colors, guys. That's why you can eat a lot of bell peppers, um, fruits, vegetables. I do a lot of greens powders too to get my micronutrients. Like whatever you can to constantly flood your body with more antioxidants is just a good idea. Lots of micronutrients while hitting our calories and protein and eating from all macros. I know I'm throwing a lot of words at you guys really fast, and it's kind of like overwhelming. But the thing is, like, we just to simplify it, we just eat all foods, majority foods that are nutriently whole dense, that come from Mother Nature, that are limited process. That's like 70% of our nutrition, but the other 30% we can eat whatever we want, as long as we're staying within our calories, hitting our protein goal, and eating from all food groups. Cool. Processed foods? Why don't we restrict ourselves from processed foods? Well, I've worked with people that have had eating disorders and stuff, like, and some people get those eating disorders from listening to people like, this food is bad, you should never eat that food, and that they might have liked that food or something, or then they get triggered with certain types of foods, and it causes them to not eat when they're hungry because they feel guilty. Like, you guys have to understand that there's no ingredient called guilt. You can have an Oreo. Like, if you want Oreos, you can eat Oreos. But if you don't want Oreos, you don't have to eat Oreos. The thing is that you just can't eat the whole carton, the whole sleeve. Restricting yourself from your favorite food can lead to binging, can lead to guilt, can lead to eating disorders. Long-term fat loss is about sustainability, not perfection. Like, I know a lot of you guys put your head down grinding on the meal prep, which is cool, but it's okay to have a piece of cake, something that was like, really fills your cup, that might put you over your calories. It's okay to go over our calories, guys. Sometimes. You know why? Because it takes 3,500 calories on excess of our maintenance to gain 1 pound of body fat. I probably said this before, but I'm going to say it one more time. It takes 3,500 calories on excess on top of our daily maintenance to gain 1 pound of body fat. So you having an extra slice or a couple of Oreos here and there is not going to do anything for our progress. Flexible eating. Enjoy treats occasionally without guilt. Incorporate processed foods mindfully within calorie goals, of course. And just like I said, it's okay sometimes to go over your calorie goals. Like, it's more important to not develop an eating disorder during this process. Because, there's some people that are more sensitive and have different triggers and things going on in their brain that they might not be able to handle the relationship they have with the food right now. We need to do some deeper work. But the thing is, guys, I just don't want people, if you want to eat something, we need to find a way to put it in your plan. That's all I'm saying. Food freedom leads to healthier relationship with eating. Why we track calories and protein. And I also want to say, we don't have relationships with food. This is a dictatorship. So if I want an Oreo, I'm going to eat an Oreo, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it because I'm in control. And that's how I feel about that. But why we track calories and protein? Not all macros. Fat loss is driven by staying in a calorie deficit, guys. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And a lot of people, it takes them a while to wrap their head around what a calorie deficit means. But we're doing, and it's never going to be, when it comes to like fat loss and like tracking our progress, and it's never going to be 1,000% accurate unless you track all your macros and weigh your foods. And that's for like bodybuilders who are trying to get like under like 8% body fat. And that's something that I would never want to do. I don't want to get that lean. Like, if you want to get like freakishly lean, then yeah, track your macros. But we don't track our macros here. I've helped people lose 100 pounds. Like, we don't have to track our macros. We just have to track our calories. And keep calories within a specific range to lose fat and maintain weight. It's all about the calories and protein. Muscle growth and recovery require consistent protein intake. Goal: hit your protein goal target to preserve muscle and boost metabolism. So that's the constant every day, guys. We gotta hit our calories, hit our protein, and once we get into like a rhythm, it gets pretty easy. Like you find the foods that you like to eat, and it's just press and play, just press and play, hitting your calories and protein. And things will adjust over time as we build more muscle, as you build more strength, as you become more of a machine. You'll be able to eat more calories. You're a machine now. Before the program, you weren't a machine. You weren't operating optimally. Now that we're eating from all macros, we're majority eating nutrient dense foods. We're getting in our micros. We are hitting our protein goal. We're hitting our calorie goal. We're working out. We're becoming machines. And as we become machines, we just, our bodies is more optimal. We burn more calories more efficiently, faster. We hit PRs more frequently, stronger. We're just becoming machine. And that's because we're getting consistent with our nutrition. If we just keep training and we don't understand macros, micros, calories, protein, and we're not doing that, like we're never going to hit that next level. Like nutrition is really what brings us to the next level on our fitness journey. Like really getting laser focused on all of these areas. Yeah, I mean, you guys could just even attempt to track your macros. Just try tracking your macros for a week and tell me how you feel about it. I just want us to keep this simple, guys. Prioritize protein at every meal. Use carbs strategically around your workouts, like heavy carbs. Like I want you guys to have like vegetables at every meal, fruits for snacks. Like those are like very low calorie carbs that you can be eating all the time. When it comes to like thicker carbs, denser carbs like potatoes, starches, rice, pastas, like you can prioritize those before and after your workout or maybe your dinner meal. Only because, I mean, it's not even that big of a deal. Only because that carbs are energy. So I mean, and sometimes we want to have a bag of chips or some candy at night. Those are carbs. For me, now that we're adults, it doesn't really make a difference. But when I was a kid, if I had some carbs at night, I'd be bouncing off the walls. It's like that. I'm like, I have all this energy now. So it's good. Like now that I'm getting older, I'm eating most of my sugary carbs, most of my snacks, before my workout because I'm able to use all that energy and crush a workout. Because fast digesting carbs, not compared to like if you were to have like a sweet potato or or some pasta before a workout, it would digest okay. It would be fine, but not compared to like a donut or a pastry that you just absorb that sugar so quick it'd be hitting your bloodstream. So that's why processed carbs, there are actual fitness goal purposes for foods that aren't good for you necessarily. But I love to eat some sugary candy snacks sometimes. I don't want to restrict myself forever. I feel like it's kind of like almost depriving yourself, restricting yourself from those foods. But if you eat too many of them, of those bad foods that don't align with our goals, it's going to dampen our life. That's why they have to be very limited. The majority of what we're eating has got to be on point. So maybe I should be stopping talking about that processed food stuff. So, guys, key takeaways: macros and micros matter. Even though we track our calories and protein, macronutrients matter. Like you shouldn't be completely restricting yourself from fat. I want you guys to understand, just have this mental note that we're getting about 20% of our calories are coming from fat. Get that mental note in your brain. Even though we're not tracking our macros, because I don't want you guys to have an aneurysm in my program, because I feel like if you track your macros, a lot of people would have aneurysms. No, but I think that you just understanding, getting this grasp that like I want you to be eating around 20% fat, around 30%-ish protein, around 45% carbs for your calories. So 45% of your calories coming from carbs, 30% coming from protein. And just getting that embedded in your head and understanding in detail, just like right off the top of your dome when you look at a food and you can be like, okay, that's a quinoa. That's a carb with a little bit of protein. And then soon we're teaching our brain and we're educating ourselves along this process that when you get out of the program eventually, you'll be able to not have to track your calories and protein every time. You'll be able to like look at foods and really just understand if this is going to be in line, if this is going to be a purpose-driven meal, if this is going to throw you off. Just from doing this over time and understanding what food lies in which macro category, and understand how many macros that you should be eating within your calories. So it takes time. Like, this is kind of a complex concept, and I try to break this down and simplify it. But we're making progress in the program, so you don't need to overthink it. You don't need to overanalyze it. I just want you guys to hope be able to understand this concept of macros and micros, that I want you to be eating from all food. And eventually we don't need to be tracking our calories and protein. Eventually you'll just be able to look at a food and be like, that's around this many calories probably, that probably has this amount, that's probably going to help me with my goal. This has a good amount of protein. This has too much fat. Like, you'll be able to look at a food and really dissect it with your brain, because you've been doing this so long, understanding macros, tracking your calories and protein, hitting your nutritional goals consistently, and knowing what foods are going to help you hit a certain amount of calories of protein or not. Okay? Is that making sense, guys? All right. I want you guys to prioritize micronutrient-rich foods for your health. Not for your calorie and protein goal, but like, I want us to live long. Like, the goal of the program is like, eat more, live longer, be stronger, be fit. Like, we want it all. So micronutrients, fruits, vegetables every single day, guys. And enjoy all foods without guilt. Focus on simplicity. Calories and protein are the most important for fat loss. Guys, that's why I make you track them every day. And I get on your ass if I see you don't track these things, because that's what it matters for burning fat and building muscle. I promise. And a lot of my clients will tell you the truth. If we consistently hit our nutritional goals, we're going to consistently have less body fat, more muscle. And we didn't track any macros. Well, we did, because protein is a macro. But the thing is, you don't need to track calories and fat, because as long as you eat from all macronutrients and stay within your calories, you're going to burn fat and build muscle. The macronutrient people, and I'm not anti-macro counting, I'm just saying it's just more complicated. I mean, it just takes longer. The macro people, they actually don't really think this works that great. But I know it works that great because it's working. Because, I mean, the macros is getting so specific, and to make it more specific, more accurate. But what we're doing is kind of like a ballpark guess. It's kind of a ballpark guess, because tracking your calories alone isn't 100% accurate. It's more like 95% accurate. So, because there's so many variables that come in with each calorie that you're inputting. When it comes to, is it a fat-heavy carb? Is it a fat-heavy carb? There's so many things, and those variables, you might be getting pretty close, but over time, we're probably off 2 calories, 3 calories here. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm just trying to be real. Like, I just want you to understand macros and understand that even though we're not tracking our macros, we are still eating from all macros in certain ratios that serve our goals. I think I said that right. So even though we're not tracking our macros, we're doing our best to go throughout the day to eat the macros that will serve our goals the best we can. Because, like, this was the most simplified thing ever. The nutrition simplified. No skipping breakfast. Try to eat within the first hour waking, and protein within the first hour waking to promote protein synthesis. So if you do that, we're already probably pretty good. We'll probably have, our ratios. We had some protein. You probably got maybe some carb, some bread, some protein. You got protein and carbs, okay? And you got some fat probably coming from that protein. I want you guys to have protein at every meal. Eat a minimum of fruit. 2 fruits per day. So we're already, see, as I'm saying, I'm just saying these simple things to help us eat from all macros and keep those macro ratios where we want them. So lots of fruit, lots of protein, that's carb heavy, protein heavy. Cook vegetables and have them at every meal, carb heavy. Eat at least 5 times per day, including snacks. When I tell you guys a snack, it's either fruits or protein, so carb heavy, protein heavy. And then keep fat lower than protein. I mean, just that simple little sentence. So as we're keeping fat lower than protein, we're just kind of like mindfully going throughout the day, eating correct macro ratios. Okay? I hope this made sense, guys. I hope you got value from this training. I was trying to go a little bit more in depth. I hope I explained this correctly, but again, guys, we're never going to have to track our macros. We're only going to continue to track our calories and protein because I want us to do this for the long term. But I do want you guys to understand macros and why some people track them, and why, as long as we do our best to eat around 20% fat, 30% protein, 45% carbs, that as long as we can stay mindful with that, not be 1,000% accurate, but try to be accurate with hitting our calories and protein, we're going to crush it. We're going to keep crushing it and not have to spend hours on a calculator tracking our macros or feel overwhelmed, like, weighing out our foods. Like, I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. And I think I figured it out. Track calories and protein, prioritize protein at every meal, eat an abundance of fruits and vegetables. Like, the simpler the better, because if once you can understand something and fully grasp it, you can be like, okay, I can do this. I fully understand this, and I'm going to go all in. But a lot of you, who I'm proud of, that you didn't fully understand this. You just took direction, and now the path is illuminating as we're walking. You're like, oh, okay, I just started tracking the calories and protein and eating more fruits and vegetables and doing this, and like, wow, I just feel better, I look better, I'm performing better. And the reason for that is because we're eating with balance. It's because we're not restricting ourselves from our carbs. It's because we're not restricting ourselves from fat. And because we're hitting our protein goal. So the macros and micros are the reason that we have gotten great results. It's because we got our macros and micros on point while staying within our calories. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. So hope you guys got value from this. And this was a good training, guys. If you guys have any questions about this, there's tons. I have other training on macros. We have other in the macro cheat sheet here. This is all on the onboarding packet. If you guys want to review any of this, you can't find it, just shoot me a message. But I want you guys to fully understand macros and micros. Okay, we're getting in our macros vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. We're getting in our macros proteins, fats, and carbs, and hopefully not alcohol. But if we do get alcohol, I've taught you guys how to track it. It's very simple. Okay, guys? Awesome, awesome. Well, that concludes today's group training, and I am out. Peace.